Hello, everybody. How are you today? It is Dee and Renee. And Dee, tell us what's going on. I just got home from Palm Desert, down in our office down there. And it's kind of chilly here, but you know what chilly is. Chilly's like 60 degrees or 65 degrees. What's going on with you?
You are so lucky because we are now officially in the minuses. So last night, I do believe, was minus 15, my friend.
Oh no. Yeah, it's been down in the 40s, but yeah, there's none of that going on.
Yeah, it's coming. On Monday, I had to go for a little drive to one of my daughter's sporting events, and we were in a full-on blizzard on the highway for a little bit of it. So it's crazy.
That would make me lose my mind. All right, everybody. So happy to see everybody. And I know this is going to be a very big show today because we're talking about candy. And you know that only Dee could actually create low carb candy that looks just like Mrs. C's made it. And you know who's super smart and owns Mrs. C's?
Tell me.
Who owns C's Candy? Somebody tell me who owns C's Candy. Sandy is first, and she's got her hashtag live going. Love it. Sandy, who owns C's Candy? Because this is a very, very famous man. It is Warren Buffett.
Oh. I was going to say, what's the famous candy in Seattle?
I don't know. Who's out there? Tell us what the famous candy in Seattle is.
There seems to be famous candy everywhere.
So we got Joelle on here, and everybody tell us where you're from. Give us your hashtag live. And today, tell us what your favorite all-time candy is. And today's show is all about how to have low carb candy.
Mm-hmm.
So no, Mrs. C's does not own C's Candy. Warren Buffett does. Okay. And by the way, if you have not seen the documentary about Warren Buffett, I forget what it's called, Living Warren Buffett or Being Warren Buffett or something, you got to watch that. Okay, so all right, so Sandy says almond roca. Well, there's something that kind of looks similar to that on the tray up there. And Myrtle Beach Buckeyes. What are Buckeyes? I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that out. So you know that if you want these recipes, all you have to do is type in the word newsletter, and you will. If you don't already get our newsletter, you will get them on Monday. So the newsletter goes out every Monday, and our girl Melissa was having some family issues this week, so it came out on Tuesday, but she is awesome. We love her. All right, Joelle, you got a piece of my heart, girl. Peanut butter here, you know. Let me tell you something. In my binging days, I could at least eat 10, maybe more. But we don't do that any longer. So, all right, Dee. So we have this amazing tray of low carb candies. And just give us, before we get into each of them individually, give us an idea of the creative process. What is your creative process?
It's really random. I actually, if you know my creative disorganization, I actually keep these type of books. I keep one in my purse. I keep one by my computer. I actually have one beside my bed. And so you know how we always talk about journaling. So if I think that I have a good idea, I write things down, and I will write things down multiple times and in different ways. just in case I have a good idea or I think it might be a good idea. So I could be falling asleep and just sudden have this random thought. Maybe it's something I saw in a grocery store. Maybe it's something I saw in a commercial or some type of advertising. I have had ideas come to me while I sit in an airport. It's just really, really random. This weekend, I was given a list. My daughter has a volleyball tournament, and all of us parents got a voluntold list. So I don't know if any of you have ever been given a voluntold. So basically what it is we have to volunteer not only our time, but we have to bring food. Although the lady who made up the list doesn't know me very well at all, because I have to bring buns, candy bags, and baking. So, but not like low carb IP baking. They want like treats. And so on that list are veggie platters, crock pot meat dishes. I'm like, man, you guys gave me the wrong one. So I got voluntold to bring basically junk. So so those cake pops in the back there are, they were born out of, what can I, take to a teenage girls volleyball tournament that's junk, but still maybe, get some goodness in there. And so right away, what comes to mind is protein balls. And then what's more fun than maybe a protein ball, dipped in some low carb chocolate, just, I don't have to be a total fun killer. Like, let's meet in the middle. So, yeah. And then of course, we're already heavy into the holiday season. Canada already had Thanksgiving. We're going to roll into Halloween, American Thanksgiving, Christmas parties, so on and so forth. So there is never a bad time to talk about holiday treats. I am a big fan of, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Let's find you something that will satisfy you as we go through this holiday season. So, yeah. So here we go.
Well, I love it. I'm just out here sharing our broadcast to the world. Okay, so Pamela says that she loves Buckeyes peanut butter balls dipped in chocolate. We got to figure out what the Buckeyes are. I've never heard of that. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
All right. So if you are just on here, give us a hashtag live. Today we are sharing not only our hashtag live, but our what our favorite candy is. And we're talking about low carb candy today. Mm-hmm. So Dee has created us this amazing menu of things that are Phase 1 approved, and you're really able to continue your lifestyle. And the one thing that we don't want to do is find something that triggers things. So we do have triggers, and there's certain things. When it comes to even, eating what we call our little healthy snacks and what have you that can cause triggers. Like for me, it is that vanilla, square, man. I cannot keep those around. I'll eat 3 in a row. So, there's just certain, we got to know ourselves. So things to do is to know yourself. I say keep stuff out of the house that you shouldn't, that, if something doesn't bother you, great. Like when you're out buying Halloween candy, buy the stuff you hate. Give that away.
Yeah.
Because there is stuff we hate. Come on, there really is.
There truly is.
Yeah. Okay, so we have these chocolate spoons, right? Called chocolate spoons.
Chocolate spoons. Such a simple thing. You've probably all seen it, so I didn't reinvent the wheel here. But let's talk about this for a minute, because it is something that can be done so easy. So we have the Raspberry Chocolate Temptation Bar from Ideal Protein. We encourage our clients, if they want to use this, to use it in place of their restricted for the day once a week. I prefer to use it that way. I know some people recommend a little piece every day. I'm not a super big fan of the little piece every day. Just in my experience in the coaching room, that little piece leads to another little piece of something else and so on and so forth. So I do like it as a planned treat. And it is a superhero in the can knock a craving down, or we can make some really decadent treats out of this when we know we have a special occasion or something coming up to use them. So you've all seen a chocolate covered spoon in novelty stores, especially around the holidays. They're often packaged with really pretty coffee mugs, with tea, all those kind of things. And so what better way than to melt down that chocolate onto 20 little spoons. And so if you are going to be at a holiday party, or maybe you're just even home and there's treats out and you want something for yourself, you can enjoy those on their own with a cup of coffee, with your cup of tea, and make it last a really long time. So I'm also a really big fan of that. When you were talking about triggers, I don't tend to buy bars because I eat them in like 1, 2, 3 gone, and then it's like, oh, yeah, that wasn't, so something like this can be stretched a lot further. And if you like dark chocolate, it is decadent. It is a really, really great treat to have. So, oh, awesome. Hi, Melissa. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. You can have them on a tray. I should have taken it with a picture of coffee, and for all of you chocolate drink fans out there that like it as hot chocolate in your coffee, you just think of the amazing ways that you can enjoy that with your packets or just on its own. So. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we like to do on this show is have you give us your #love live and your nugget of wisdom. Mm-hmm. So when you learn something on the show, give us your nugget of wisdom. Okay, so looks amazing. I have actually never had a chocolate spoon, so call me. Okay, so tell us about these.
Okay, who has made a jicama chip? Just put it in the comments if you've ever made jicama chips, whether it's in a dehydrator or on the pan on the stove or in the oven. So I peel my jicama, cut them in half, slice them with a mandolin slicer, throw it on parchment paper and dry it into chips. So simple. But again, you can sprinkle any type of seasoning on them, and chili seasoning, a little bit of hot chili seasoning with raspberry chocolate is amazing. So you can do them plain, or you can season them up, and then I dip them in the melted raspberry chocolate bar. Set them on parchment paper to dry, and you have a delicious decadent chip. And jicama has that little hint of sweetness on its own. And so I did some plain with the raspberry chocolate, and then some with some chipotle chili, just gently sprinkled while they were drying in the oven, and then dipped them in the raspberry chocolate. And they're so good because you get the heat and the chocolate all in one. So
I love it. Sweet and spicy at the same time.
Right.
That's jicama is one of my favorites because it has so much body to it. So has anybody done jicama chips before? I've never done jicama chips. I've always had them in stick form. Of course, I buy them already cut up like a dummy. But I'm all about the easy. So
that's okay.
Yeah, Whole Foods. You get like a whole container of them, and they're all chopped up. And then I can eat like 4 at a time. I can chop them into my salad. So do love the jicama chips. I don't think anybody's made jicama chips. At least we haven't had any.
You're going to now. We're going to make jicama chips now.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. All right, you guys. One of the things, if you haven't done this yet, Dee, out on deesrecipes.com, Dee has a baking book. She's going to be doing a little holiday PDF here pretty soon, but Dee does have a baking book. If you love to bake, download it. And yeah. Okay. So yeah, Sandy says she's done fries. Joelle is like me. She just buys the stuff and eats it. So
okay. That's okay.
These looked absolutely delicious. I love the red with the chocolate, and I am a lover of rhubarb. So we got some chocolate rhubarb. What are these?
It's bark, like rhubarb. It's just chocolate bark with the dried rhubarb, and it has some lemon zest on top, which is also delicious. You can also use lime or your orange, but yeah, the chocolate rhubarb bark. Now, for some of you that have been following our page for a while, you will have seen me make chocolate bark with the trail mix, with the crispy cereal, but my absolute favorite is dried rhubarb. And so again, you slice your rhubarb, you place it on parchment paper, you just dry it on low temp in your oven. I don't dry it till it's crispy dry, just it has like a little bit of moisture left in it. And then I mix it throughout the melted chocolate. And then once I pour my chocolate on the parchment paper, spread it thin, I garnish it with additional dried rhubarb and some lemon zest, sometimes a sprinkle of sea salt. So again, here comes your anything goes. So you could have put a little bit of heat on those too, but I really love the citrus flavor with the rhubarb. And of course, I'm sampling all of these in clinic today, and the first one gone off the tray was the rhubarb bark. Yeah, it's gone. I'm gonna make some more.
So Dee, just so I understand, when you are melting this chocolate bar, are you doing it like in a double pot, whatever those are called, where there's water underneath and there's another little pot on top, or how do you do that? Is a double boiler, I think is what it's called.
It's called a double boiler. Do you want me to show you?
No, I know what it looks like, but I just want to know how you're doing it, because I won't.
I will tell you guys, I will be totally honest with you. I don't have a proper double boiler, a fancy one. I have this perfect little pot that was included when my mom bought me nice pots and pans when I got married 22 years ago. I still use the same pots and pans. I have this nice little size pot, and I have this beautiful little bowl that just fits perfectly right in it, and heat safe. And it never touches the water in the bottom, so you don't want the glass to touch your water. So you have to just watch your water level, low heat, and you gently melt your chocolate. So the lower heat that you go, and you just stir it as it melts, and that is basically melting on double boiler method. It's perfect. It works. It's so slick. And then you don't burn the chocolate. You don't scald it. You don't so sometimes if you're trying to defrost or melt it in a microwave, you can scald it or make it yucky. So always stovetop method is for sure a superior way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not a big microwaver, so just thinking about what that is now. This here looks to me, now I know you said that there's ginger in here.
All ginger.
What inspired you to do this?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so how many of you have eaten gin-gins or candied ginger, or walk through a checkout in a grocery store and see see tins of candied ginger? And it is like an obsession of mine. Every time I walk by it, I know I'm not going to buy it. I know I can't have it, because as soon as I flip around the label, I'm like, man, it's all carbs and sugar. So you can make your own candied ginger. And this one, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, you can, if you get a good idea, start Googling it, start looking at it, start looking at others' recipes. And right off the bat, I'll read something and be like, no, yeah, I want to try that, or no. So Ginger is best once you cook down the ginger. But mandolin slicing, it is not the best because it gets too thin, and so you kind of need nice, robust little chunks, and you cook it down with a little bit of sweetener, and then air drying it until the perfect temperature works the best, better than in an oven. So an oven really dehydrates it down and makes it quite hard, whereas the air drying, it dries to the perfect chewy texture. And you can sprinkle additional sweetener of your choice over top of it while it is air drying, if you like that crystallized sugar look on it. So
when you say sweetener, what are you using?
So I actually, this is not going to be a surprise to anybody. I boiled it down with a little bit of the sugar-free maple syrup. I am a fan of that product just because of the serving size of it. Traditional granular sweeteners, usually it's a teaspoon is a serving. And so it doesn't go very far, but you can totally use that if you wanted to. If you were in maintenance and you like erythritol or monk sweeteners, those types of things, anything, those will all work. Swerve brand now has brown sugar and granular sugar and icing sugar. There's just so many options for maintenance. A little less when you are still in, the losing phase. If you were doing a phase 1 or a losing phase ketogenic diet, so yeah. But lots of options. And then, of course, just to keep the theme going, I then dipped some of the big pieces of ginger in chocolate, and surprise, surprise, those flew off the tray today as well, because the spicy ginger and raspberry chocolate is amazing together.
Yeah, that raspberry chocolate, that's another thing I can't keep in the house because it's just too easy to eat the whole bar. So, things I know about myself, folks. So last but not least, and that, the last picture is always my favorite. Like, who can create a cake pop except for Dee?
It's so fun. It's so fun. And what's so telling is that, I had once upon a time little kids, and I have a whole container of supplies from, Halloween or candy making or all those types of things. And so every once in a while, I just have a little peek in there too. And I had sticks. So I'm like, oh yes, let's make cake pops. And the really neat thing about cake pops is, you guys, any of your favorite muffin or cake recipes that are a little bit more dense and have some good moisture in them will work for a cake pop. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. So I have a lot of muffin and cake recipes that I like, that I know are kind of no-fail ones. I know I'll make them. They will turn out. And once you have made your cake and it cools, you literally just crumble it all up and you add your choice of sweetener. So you could use the marshmallow fluff, you could use caramel dip, you could use the jams. These ones actually have apple butter in them as the glue. And you form your balls and you let them sit till they set. And this one, now for anybody who makes cake pops, you will know this is a little more labor intensive. And then I melted 1 square of the chocolate, and you put chocolate on the end of the stick, and then you poke the end of the stick through first, and then you let that chocolate set on that stick so that it will hold before that we paint and dip the rest of the chocolate around your cake ball. So once again, the Raspberry Temptation Bar did not disappoint. 1 Raspberry Temptation Bar covered 9 cake pops, guys. Yes. So
tell me, what's in the cake? What are you making the cake with?
So these ones are actually my apple cinnamon muffin. Is what they are. Mm-hmm. So if it makes it,
so let's think about this then. If it makes 9, half of them are a serving because you've got a whole thing of apple oatmeal and a whole thing of the bar, right?
Okay, so this is how I do this, guys. So your cake part used packet, And then your raspberry temptation bar is your restricted for the day. You have to remember that. So there's your restricted and 1 packet. So however you want to eat that throughout the day is fine. You can take all day to eat them. So for example, the 2 packets made 9 decadent treats, but that's an unrestricted and a restricted. So you have to count it that way. And I would not, this is my personal opinion, it gets way too messy to try to say, well, I ate half a restricted yesterday, I'll eat another. I mean, you can do it, but you have to really be a superstar journaler and really keep track of things. But yeah. So just know that that's a restricted and an unrestricted. So that's 2. So that's how I personally do it. I just like to keep it, simple. And I'll tell you the truth here right now. Those didn't make it to the clinic for sampling.
That was your breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
They did not make it, guys. Yep. And even,
I love it.
And of course, Renee knows this. This is a problem in my house. My 18-year-old walked by as they were setting, and he's like, "Ooh!" I'm like, "Hey,
back off, buddy."
Yep.
So I did want to mention, and we do have. Dee is printing some of her books. So there's 1,000 printed books that are going into circulation next week. And no, we will not be selling them on the website. And we don't have this ebook on the website either. So just want to let you know that the lifestyle book will be sold in clinics only. If you are a clinic owner, a clinic coach, you would like to carry, they come in lots of 20 or 50. Get in touch with Dee. She's the cookbook girl. I'm the technical girl. And so get in touch with Dee, and Melissa in Red Cliff at the Red Cliff Pharmasave is going to have 50 of them. So you better line up and get your name in quick. So it's 150 recipes, and they are, everything from appetizers to salads to soups to dinners. And none of this has any ideal protein packets in it. So it's really a lifestyle guide. It's 150 recipes, all about the keto lifestyle. And yes, you can ask your clinic to order them for you. So they will only be in a printed version in the clinic. Thank you, Melissa, for reminding me about that. We are getting to the 5 minutes that we have to talk about coaching. And, through the holidays, Dee, I thought one of what we should talk about today is mindful eating, because we kind of get, here's what happens. And I know in my clinic, I have like the super strong, make it through anything clients. And then I have the clients that do not show up until, January, and they're annoyed. And then I have the clients that keep coming in every week and, or every other week, they keep struggling at it. And I love everyone for wherever place you are at. Yep. But let's really talk about mindful eating and how we can really strategically get through the holidays. And if you want a group where you can do that, go out to my Maintain Don't Gain group, and I will put a link in the comment section here, so that it's a group where we strategically kind of go through the next 8 weeks. And so I just changed it over from summer to the holidays. So let's talk about that, Dee.
It's I'm going to use an example that I used today in clinic, and I used it with a couple of clients, and there are triggers that happen. Tomorrow is going to be a trigger for a lot of people, but there are some direct things related to that trigger that sometimes we don't think about. So I'm going to just use an example. Some of you are going to relate, some of you won't, but here it is. So you are a mama and you have 3 small children, and tomorrow you're not only going to be getting them ready for school and doing your job and making sure they have all their costumes for their school parties, and you probably had to send a snack and a little treat bag for everybody, and maybe you're going to go volunteer, and then right after work you're going to have to get the kids fed and organize, and you're going to get them out the door, and you're going to go trick-or-treating. And in all of that, you did not take care of yourself that day because you have been crazy and busy. So maybe you ate a packet for breakfast, maybe you got one in for lunch, but you certainly didn't get your vegetables in because you just didn't have time, because you didn't have them ready to go and grab out of the fridge. And then you didn't eat a proper supper before taking the kids trick-or-treating because there was just no time, because you were taking care of everybody else and not yourself. And then usually you're a superstar rock star and that candy doesn't bug you, but the kids come home from trick-or-treating and they dump it on the floor, and all of a sudden you realize, I'm starving because I haven't ate properly today, and now I'm tired and over hungry and stressed, and I just throw all caution to the wind, and I'm just going to eat a dozen of these little arrows because they're just babies anyway, so it's not going to really matter, and I'll just get back at it tomorrow. We've all, I think most of us have moments like this, similar ones. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly that one. Yeah, it happens. And so tonight you have to plan and prepare for yourself if that kind of trigger is going to happen to you. You have to put yourself first. Here's another thing. Halloween candy is really cheap, crappy candy. And it really is. It's really poor quality candy. And I work in a pharmacy where we've got that crappy candy at the front tills all year round. So today I walked 2 of the clients up there and said, you walk past this every week when you come for your appointments. Do you ever buy it? No. Okay. Why do you feel like buying it when it's in a cute packaging? So that is marketing. It is the marketing that sucks you in. Oh, they put that same crappy candy in a cute package and it makes me want it. So we don't want to get sucked into the cute marketing. Last week I did a graphic and I put some tips and thoughts and ideas in there. And of course, Renee touched on them at the start. You know, don't buy candy you don't like. You're allowed to. Absolutely. You can give out candy you don't like. Maybe your neighbor is going to have to hand out your candy. People do it all the time. Oh, here, Betty Lou, can you hand out my candy while I take the kids trick-or-treating? So say you don't have any little kids, still give it to the neighbor. If you can't have it in your house, give it away. Or you know what, maybe this year you're just turning off your lights and going to go in your room and read a book. And you know what, you're allowed to. It doesn't make you a bad neighbor. You know, in the neighborhood, it means you're doing self-care. Maybe you need to physically go out and do something else when all the little ghouls and goblins are trick-or-treating. Maybe you make treat bags and you staple them shut and you don't get into them. But remember, before you hand out candy, you're going to have eaten your supper. You're going to have a hot bevy with you. You're going to have extra veggies cut up. You are going to have things that you know you can have to help get you through. Maybe you invite over a handing out candy buddy to say, I'm telling you, you slap my hand, and I mean you slap it if you see me reaching for something. It's okay to need some help with that, you know. The last kid comes to the door, dump the rest of the bowl in that kid's pillowcase, man. Say, Merry Christmas, gone, you know, or leave it on your front step. Leave that bowl on your front step. When you're done, you're done. You know, I'm guaranteeing you, you know, some kid will clean it up. There's not a right or a wrong way to do it, but do what's best for you this year, right now, whatever it takes to keep you strong. And lots of people, you can donate candy as well. I see all sorts of graphics around about where you can donate your unused Halloween candy to. So, you know, donate it. I personally, in my circle of people, my friends, all those types of things, I don't know anybody's kids that are deprived of treats. Like I don't. So if you do, like if you legitimately know, you know, some kids that, but again, it's just garbage. There's no food there's just no food value in it. And I think, my own kids get plenty, like even on weeks where I think I'm a rock star in the kitchen and like, I cave and, they they're eating bread or they're things that aren't, maybe the best. So I mean, it's not about perfection. It's just about building a better lifestyle.
It's really just a journey. It's part of our journey. A lot of what we do really relates subconsciously to what we did in our childhood, to just stuff we've done forever. And so that's really what we have to think about is the mindfulness aspect of, and if you need to do that tonight, meal prep tonight, write down your plan for tomorrow, have it very clear what is going to happen. If you're going to a party, I think a lot of parties happened last weekend. So hopefully all of that you got through, but, really just be strategic. It is one day, one night. I know it's filled with candy. It's filled with people. It's filled with fun, and it's can be stressful and hectic, like Dee was talking about. But remember that there's another, 200, things that are going to happen in the next 10 years where you can have a piece of candy. So keep it moving on.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry because I can't remember the coach's name. I did share it and it was a coach who said between now and Christmas, there's 13 meals. There's 13 meals that might trip you up. 13 out of 300 and however many. You know what? Go and listen to that. Like, we are in this together. There are so many amazing coaches and clinics and your peers out there that have fantastic ideas. And you know what? Just be open to receive them. You know what? Maybe you're tired of listening to me yammer, but you know what? Maybe somebody else, piques your attention. Listen to it, take it in. Like, I
love it, Dee. I never get tired of listening to you, but that's just me. So everybody, thank you for joining us. We will be back here next week, next Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Do all your friends and family a favor and hit that little, we're not even supposed to say SHARE anymore, the SH word. And, so Facebook definitely tries to play tricks on us and doesn't send our video out if we do those things. But spread the word, you guys, about the show and about what's going on. Joelle says she lives in the country. No trick-or-treaters here. Haven't bought candy in 29 years. Wow.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I wish I could say that, but I can't. Okay, you guys, have a super rest of your week and happy Halloween. We should have wore costumes, Steve. What losers we are.
Well, I've done my time dressing my little ghouls and goblins. I am now through that. So I'm just going to put that stuff to rest until maybe hopefully one day, like 10 years from now, somebody makes me a grandma, but like not till at least then, then I'll get back into the festivities.
I'm with you. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.